久しぶりだな。急いでるみたいだな。アメリカでお前を待ってるやつのとこまで帰れると思うなよ。もう終わりにするか。死ねよお前。これかこれか。やばいお前。やめろから逃がさねえぞ。もう終わりだよ。
You know I usually work alone.
Everyone needs a little help sometimes.
Well, I guess we're even now.
You didn't even tell me you were leaving. You know, America is never going to change. The men are lost. The culture is broken.
I know. But I have to try.
It's gonna cost you a lot of trouble. Stay with me. We can do so much good from here.
I'm sorry. I can't. Gotta go.
Fine. Then I'll come with you.
Let's go. It's time to fight.
That's right. It's going down July 21st. Do not miss it because we are going live. The Masculine Empowerment Network. Join us. There are 123 people in there. We've only done a couple streams. I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek. As you can see, 123 right there. But that's all you see, and that's all you get, because if you want any more, you got to click on the link. Go to school.com/MLD. And the good news is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be live in the school giving a free lesson, total breakdown on understanding dating, what's going on in the world today, and an open Q&A in regards to whatever questions you have. But you got to go to school.com. I've got to let you in. We have a screening process set up. And if you do come to the webinar trainings that are live on Zoom and you don't talk, if I ask, because if some of you guys have come through and you have like weird names and then you have no camera on and you think this is like normal behavior, that's very weird. And I don't want you to come to my school because I don't want to waste my time with guys who are not going to take it seriously. And that being said, let that be a warning to you, because if you do come and you try to just listen and not pay attention or not respond to the chat and just quite frankly disrespect me and disrespect everybody there, you're going to be kicked out. You're going to be booted. And I'm probably never going to work with you for the rest of my life. Okay. Because I'm only interested in working with people who are serious. And now that I'm here, ground zero in America, watching the freak show that's happening here 1,000% because of men's fault, I assure you, you need my help more than I need to help you. So if you're serious, you come on down. If you're not, best of luck to you, because that's the only thing that's going to help you is luck. But for your winner, you want to make it happen, go to school.com/MLD. And yeah, man, it's going to be super, super lit. We got a great show for you guys here today, and I've got a special guest. It's my good friend Paul from Apex Mindset. What's up, Paul? How you doing?
Good, man. What's happening?
Paul, I got to commend you for living amongst this army. You know, I have a new name for American women. I call them the Goblin Army. Holy God. I think you're desensitized to it, how like everybody's just, the majority of the women are just so fat and ugly with bad personalities. Like back in our day, if the girl was fat, she was really, really, really nice. Now you got fat girls with attitudes. Like what is going on here?
Yeah. Now it's like opposite day, right? They're the ones who are and they're the ones who are, you know, basically cock blocking, right? And the ones who are, you know, you try to talk to a pretty girl and the fat one comes out and she says she's not interested, you know? Yeah, it's a nightmare out there. But you know what though? This is the thing. When you have game and frame in your life though, like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like there's still pretty women in the United States. They're just less percentage than it used to be. There's less numbers. But guess what? You know, if I know how to, you know, talk to women and make women feel good, and I have a lot of things going on in my life that make me interesting enough, you know, I can have the smaller percentage. I don't need to deal with the other percentage of, you know, idiots.
The Goblin Army.
And dumb women, right? I get to laugh at them from a distance while I hang out and have dinner with my hot girlfriend or whatever, like I did before the stream, right? So yeah, it's a different life when you have game and frame in your life. You know what I mean?
Dude, it is it's a modern marvel. If you want to talk about a group of people that totally dropped the ball with literally every drop of opportunity given to them, it is the American woman. Like you have the most privilege, you have the most dudes throwing money at you, you have all these things, and they have just become these gigantic monstrosities. It's pretty funny.
Right. Well, and they're very unhappy, and it's very sad. You know what I mean? Occasionally you get
the misery is real.
It was very
the misery is real.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
but you know, it's not our job. You guys listening to us right now, it's not your job to fix them. You know what I mean? You're not their counselor. You're not their doctor. It's not your job to offer a woman a better life. You know, she should be trying to have a good life on her own and being the best, showing up every day to life as the best version of herself that she can be. And then that's who you develop relationships with. That's who you date casually. You know what I mean? That's who you select. If you're not running into those women, you got the wrong social groups. You're not sourcing from the right places. You might live in a very small town and you need to get into a different town. Like there's problems you need to solve then because they're out there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's women that are fun to hang out with, but they're just smaller percentage. You got to find them.
This is going to sound like I'm grifting, but I really don't care at this point. But really, like almost every man in America needs a dating coach, a quality one too. And like, even those people, like, you know, you see these people like Marnie Wing Girl. It's like, okay, really? like you are like that is a grifter. Okay, that is an actual grifter
for sure.
But you have to go to a man who has done it, who has experience. And not only do we need, I mean, across the transaction. So from sourcing a girl to dating, courting, in a relationship, and then maintaining a relationship, and men need training across the board.
Across the board, for sure. Yeah.
Because,
well, we're in a, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's tied in today's episode, which guys, Paul brought this to my attention this way. Paul brought this to my attention. And it's a great episode, but we got to line up for you, Jay. But you guys have to understand this, okay? A lot of you guys are way too nice and way too forgiving, first of all. Second of all, you have to understand this too. Once you have a happy, healthy, sustainable relationship, you have to understand you have to protect that relationship, and you have to protect it from outside forces, outside male forces, which may be trying to intercept and take your girl away, and also outside female sources that are incredibly jealous, that want to steal the girl away so they can run out and be on the streets together, quite frankly, if I were to speak very, very direct about it all. But man, oh man, I got to say, you know, if anything, it's good to be me. And I know it's good to be you, because these are problems. I don't like, we got different problems. We got like problems.
I hear from guys, like I've been there, you know, like I've been in tough relationships. I've made a series of mistakes to get to a better place, right? And so I can relate.
Series of mistakes.
Yeah. So, you know, I can relate definitely to the dudes who are struggling right now, but like the struggles are magnified even today because, you know, we have a global sexual marketplace, and that's not been the case in most of human history. That started with social media and the advent of social media in the like 2005-ish, when Facebook started becoming popular, moved from, you know, and dating apps started happening. And now when you look at how hypergamy works, it's no longer a girl being happy in her small town with her family and a couple of kids because everybody else in her social circle is in the same small town and happy with their couple of kids. They jump on social media, they go on TikTok, they see all these different lives out there. And all those lives, of course, that is being presented are being presented as, you know, it's a lot of capping. It's a lot of inflated views of how people are really living their lives. And these women feel bad about themselves, and they feel bad about the men they're dating and their relationships. And they continually want to have something outside of it. Even a girl who's not a Miami girl, even just a small town middle American girl, she's still on TikTok. She's still wasting her life away on TikTok. So how do you combat that? Well, the only way you combat it is through having frame and building desire. And those two things are skill sets. If you don't have those skill sets, it doesn't work anymore, because she's going to just devalue you and see you as not good enough. Even if you have millions of dollars and a, you know, massive physique and, you know, whatever, all the things, you can have all the things going for you, but the presentation online is going to be that something better else is out there, and what you have at home isn't worth appreciating. And you have to build a deeper set of values, and you have to build a different perception of the world. So in persuasion stuff, like knowing what persuades people, like doing military operations, right? Collecting intelligence, developing assets, spy work, all that kind of stuff, right? You learn that human beings are motivated through punishment and reward, right? Basic behavioral, but they're also motivated by values, the sense of values that they have that make up their identity. And they're also motivated by the way in which they see the world, which is influenced by their social environment and how they grew up. With frame and game, you are influencing their values and perceptions of the world. When my girl sees a girl's trip and a bunch of dumb 304s going out to look for some vacation sex, my girl understands what that means. Whereas other people's girl are like, what's the big deal? She just going out with her friends and you guys are so insecure and she just wants to have some girl time. You know what I mean? That's what other girls see because of the way that they've been conditioned. But because of my frame, the girl that I'm with sees things differently. And you have to be able to make that and create that in your relationship. That's a skill set. And you're not going to just manifest that or watch a YouTube video and magically have it. You have to get trained on how to do it. You know,
well, I know, but I kind of want to push back against that a little bit because if that were the case when these girls were unhappy, because actually statistically speaking, do you know where the divorce rate is actually the lowest?
What's that now?
Do you know where the divorce rate is the lowest?
Where
the guys make $500,000 or more per year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You just hear these blown out of proportion stories, but the numbers don't lie. We are less than 5 years away from 50% of the female population in the United States of America being single.
Yeah, sure. 100%.
So, their strategy,
Yep. It's not working. But like, okay, so I know some, and you may know some as well, like people who grew up, who had generational wealth and grew up in women who grew up in different social circles. They have a different set of values and perceptions of the world. They're less like a lot of those women. They have high, dad made $500,000 a year. You know what I mean? Back in the 90s, they had everything they needed growing up. It's not the spoiled bratty daughter scenario for all these girls. Some of these girls grew up and they just have a completely different set of values. They don't understand what you mean. You're just going to go have sex with random guys like after the club. Like what do you mean? Like they don't understand that because they grew up where if they did some ratchet stuff, they had a whole list of people that would be disappointed. Dad would be disappointed. Mom would be disappointed. Their brothers would look at, or their sister and brothers would look at them crazy. They had other friends that would look at them, maybe church group people that would look at them like, what do you mean you're just hooking up with some random drug dealer? You know what I mean? Like they would all look down on them. They had that social pressure when they were in their late teens and early 20s, when their brain is too stupid to make good decisions and they look to social environment. They had a good upbringing and they came from wealth. And so this is what happens. And that's why that number is what it is. It's not just the money, although money does help reduce relationship stress. It's their upbringing. If you make $500,000 a year, you're probably in social circles of other women who have been around people who make that kind of money. And then that's who you end up pairing off with, right? And
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I have an inkling of a feeling. Okay, so obviously I'm 39. You're 35. You look great. But we're about the same generation. Do you feel like the days of like when we were younger, when you could like womanize a lot in America has kind of come down? It's like now the flex is like having a girlfriend. And I've noticed too, the guys that get the most are the ones that have a girlfriend now or a wife and then cheat on the side. Is that, am I, because I've only been in America now less than 2 months.
Well, I mean, it's all over. I think that I agree that, because masculinity was more respected back like in the 90s, right? In early 2000s when we were younger. And so part of masculinity is being able to get women, right? Like that's a masculine thing. James Bond would bang random girls every mission. Like it was that thing. And that was a respect. It was, we could say, understood as being part of masculinity. Masculinity wasn't vilified like it is now. We've spent the last 25 years, both vilifying masculinity as well as saying genders aren't real. So like we got all kinds of things going on now in a cultural narrative that have stripped down what it means to be a man, being attractive to women, being able to seduce women, being able to have, multiple girlfriends. It's not that you need to have that. In fact, a Christian guy would say, maybe I pick one wife, but he still wants the ability though. If he wanted to, he have choice of women And then he picks the one girl he wants to have babies with or whatever and goes to church with, right? So like the values may be different and how they approach the dating market, but it was well respected that a good looking dude who had things going for him could get girls, and that was a good thing. Nowadays, guys are so scarce and so simping that they're afraid to even act like that, and that's considered creepy or weird. You know what I mean?
That's interesting because that's like the complete opposite direction of I was not going. I was, but it's very valid.
Yeah.
But I was just saying the number one thing that ruins the dating market in America is fat women.
Yeah.
Because
that's part of the equation.
You shrink the percentage of
available.
Yeah, 100%. Nobody wants a bang to like wife up a fat girl. Like, right. You'll get banged out by a bunch of black dudes, but like that's about it. Like, you're not really nobody's lined up to put a ring on a cow's finger. It's gonna be an expensive ring too. It's gonna take more gold, more circumference, But like, I'm a big fan of Ozempic because the way I look at it is like this: it's either going to make them skinny or kill them. Either way, it's a W. Like, I mean, fat women have got to go. They have just got to go. It is like it's the funniest thing about fat women is it's literally the number one thing that's 100% in their control.
Yes.
Like, it's not me. It's a thyroid issue. It's like, no, you're just really fucking stupid. Like, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, it takes some accountability to realize, I'm getting out of shape. I better start kicking it up a notch and better start doing some different things with the diet. That takes accountability. And we've removed accountability culturally from women in a lot of places. So naturally they get to make excuses and then also at the same time convince you that they're beautiful just the way they are.
Wow.
And if you don't like them, then something's wrong with you.
I will say this too. Okay. In the next 5 years, we're going to see two big gigantic shifts because now, you never really see a really fat person after the age of like 47, 48. That's really when the body starts to give out. Dr. B, if you want to give me some science on that, I know you're a doctor in the chat, but around then, that's when they start to do. And I'm seeing all these fat influencers dying, and I love it. I'm just like, well, I mean, thank you for showing humanity like you're dumb and this is bad. And all of these marketing campaigns and the fat mannequins and all this stuff, these people are pure evil because and rather just saying like, hey, like, you're huge, you're gross, you smell bad everywhere. You are like, I saw a woman on the plane the other day and she took up 2 seats. And I was just
no, dude.
I just look at him and I always say the same thing and I'll say it forever. Like, where were you 50 pounds ago? Where were you 70 pounds ago? Like, but these are clearly deeply traumatized individuals. Right. But Mother Nature is going to do its thing and call the weak and call the stupid. And you can abuse your body for only so long before your body gets the last laugh and turns off the lights. So fat women they upset the balance of the force, right? Because now, back in the day, a 5 was just like, a girl's just kind of average looking. But now the average girl actually is fat. Actually, it's above average. Yeah. Like, it's more than the average woman is fat. So every girl who's not fat automatically becomes a 6 just because she's not fat.
Right.
And everything gets inflated. So
it's inflation, hoflation. Right.
Well, that's the other side of the spectrum. But I said all that to say this. I think in the next 5 years, a couple things are going to happen. 1, weight loss drugs are going to get better. 2, AI girlfriends are going to start taking men out of the dating place, and AI sex robots. I personally believe
already starting. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, American women are the bottom of the global barrel. Period. I'm currently like 320 something girls that I've been with. I have traveled the world and womanized for the last 10 and a half. Well, I've been womanizing since I started dating, quite frankly. So that's like 22 years right there. But then traveling the world and womanizing at a low level when I was a broke English teacher, just barely making it by and going to saving up my money and going to Korea, Thailand, and all these places. And as a multimillionaire, You know, I have all along the socioeconomic ladder, all first world, second world, third world. I've gone around the world, and American women are the bottom of the global barrel, and I don't see them turning it around. And the reason is because there's just too much money in keeping them fat and insufferable. And to add more cherry on top of this beautiful pie, guys are like, in 5 years they're going to be sex robots. That like a beautiful, attractive sex robot that you can like upload like ChatGPT and upload use people. You can treat ChatGPT and Grok and stuff like a girlfriend now, and there are guys already using that and doing that. And you're going to be able to upload that into a robot that's going to have like a hydraulic turbo vagina that fucking like, you know, just makes you have the hardest orgasm ever. And the ones that are going to be left behind and cooked are women. So it's really going to be shape up or, you know, ship out. And we're going to see balance. So the thing is, it's a game of attrition. And in the meantime, because right now as a man too, we live in the gigantic sea of male vaginas right now. It is the largest group of pussies. You're in the military, you know, it's getting hard to recruit people. They're fat, they're soft, they're crybabies. You raise your voice at them, they fucking cry. They're little divas. So if you're a guy that focuses on the core four, money, muscles, game, frame, you actually every day make an advancement step and you're willing to do volume, the world is your oyster. The world truly is your oyster. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is people wonder, like, I mean, people get caught up in like the global stuff and the society and all this. Like, we talk about it because we're educating people and running a live stream, right? So this is why we talk about it. But like, when a guy is complaining about, you know, women in America are this, and we're not complaining about, we're just talking about the truth of the matter. But when they're complaining about stuff, and they're really most of the time using it as an excuse to not do well, right? When you have skills in certain areas, you sidestep all this bullshit. Like, my lifestyle is I don't even intersect with all that bullshit. I got my relationship, I got family, I got a nice lake house, I do cool shit, you know what I mean? And it's just, I'm in my own environment, own little world that I create around myself, and it's a bubble of happiness.
Can I ask a question
that's around me? You know?
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Do you think this outward manifestation of creating the world that you live in, do you think this started with having internal frame?
Oh, 100%. It has to start there. You have to see the world in a way that allows you to win. And so to me, inner game is having a mindset that allows you to win and get what you want rather than lose. That's what having good inner game is. It's not just being mentally healthy, it's getting what you want and winning in life. And it starts with what's going on in your brain. And then that translates to actions and the way that you communicate to others. And those actions and that communication is what creates the structure around yourself to have the world the way that you want it. You know, if you don't like, you know, a particular way that people are, you can get a decent house or a decent place to live in a neighborhood that isn't around those people. You know what I mean? You can have friends and be selective and go to places that cater to you and your friends versus going to places where a bunch of ratchet idiots go.
Right.
Like, you just create, and that requires money, and that requires, you know, success and those things, which is why those things are important. The more success you have, the more of a world you can create around yourself, and you don't have to have these other hellish influences in your life. You know, they're there, but they're out there. Do you know what I mean? They're not in your world. And that all starts with what's going on up here. You have to think like a winner. When you're presented with something like girls in America are fat, which is a fact, right? That's a factual statement. You say to yourself, okay, well, I don't want to date a fat chick and I want to date hot girls that make me happy. How can I do that in a sea of fat women? That's how a winner thinks. They don't sit there and go, oh, there's all these fat women and dating apps suck. And I've gone on so many bad dates and I don't have enough money to keep doing this. Instead, but I can't travel. I can't do all of the reasons. That's a way a loser thinks.
Yeah.
That's poor inner game. Good, solid inner games goes, somebody says, well, wow, yeah, the situation's fucked. I'm going to find my way to make it work. I'm going to figure out how. I have to learn these skill sets. I'm not going to make excuses. I have to put a little bit of effort in areas that I, didn't previously think I'd have to put effort.
I got to say, that's so funny that you brought that up because look, when I was in Tokyo, I really wasn't too incentivized to like get super fit because, I always have just like an endless sea of women when you got game. I've lived in the 58th floor penthouse. I'm charming. I'm funny. I've got charisma through fucking every orifice on my body. But now, like, I'm so appalled by fat women that I'm like getting in really, really tip top shape now. Like, I've dropped 10 pounds in June just because I see these troglodyte animals and I like don't even want to be like 1 inch in the same category of them, even if it's like, oh, from this he's got a little bit. Hell no. I'm honestly about to like run a cycle of trend. I would rather ruin my body and run some horse steroids than be considered fat and amongst the fat class of women here. So that's the way. You just got to level up. And, you got to just, that, and I tell you what, too, in my opinion, from what I've been noticing, I think in the States, having a great body is actually even more of a status symbol than being rich.
I think that's a pretty good observation. I think that is probably true. You know what I mean? Especially with, I don't know, just I think that's probably true. I think it's harder in some ways for people. It demonstrates definitely more discipline in some ways, even though you and I both know how much discipline is required in accumulating wealth. It's kind of a different kind of discipline, number one. But number two, women have a difficulty differentiating the guy who lives like a rich person because their parents are subsidizing their lifestyle, even though they're 35, 40 years old, which I know people like that. I grew up with people like that. They're my age, pushing 50, still getting things bought from them from their parents, right? Generational wealth. And then there's other people who are self-made, who are very disciplined, and an average girl doesn't really know the difference. But when you look at a fit person, you can't ignore that person had, some discipline to get there. You can't ignore it. And there's something to be said about our primal nature and our primal aspect of our brain, where a girl sees a guy who's strong and fit and does something to her brainstem that makes her want to mate with him. Whereas his bank account, she'll mate with him because of his bank account too, right? But it doesn't quite have that same tingly effect, we'll say.
Yeah. It's really funny just to see exactly how things are unfolding here. I went on a date with a chick recently, right? And how the girls are like in America. It's like one strike, you're out, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's just interesting because I just want to see. I want to get inside the mind of these idiots, and we were talking and stuff, and she was telling me the last relationship she was in, and how it was like, I thought he was good, but it actually turned out to be bad, and blah blah blah. Just this, then the fucking the smear started talking, right? And so then we met up again, and she had extremely high interest in the first meetup. The second meetup, for some reason, it just, I don't know, fizzled out or something, right? So that being said, after she was like, I just want to trust my intuition on this one, and it's really strong, and da 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 da. And I was like, really? I was like, did you trust your intuition on the last guy too? And she was like, I don't feel like I need to explain myself, and blah 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 blah. I was like, oh my god, okay. But it's just it's funny. It's like, I think the reason they're like this is because they get so much male validation without having to be in a relationship to a degree.
Yes, that's right. That's what the internet does for them. That's part of that global sexual marketplace. That's why accountability these days is such a scarce resource when it comes to women, particularly because a girl who is above like a 5 and up, right? Like she doesn't even have to be, she could be middest of the mids, and she will have a orbit of males that will tell her she's amazing and correct and beautiful no matter what. Like you can see just really people who are like women who are in bad shape, let's just say disgusting, right? Post a picture of herself, whatever, that she shouldn't post, wearing shit she should not wear with her physique, right? Like clearly should not. She will have a sea of simps in there telling her how amazing she is.
But her
the
girlfriends, in my opinion, it's the girlfriends that are worse.
Oh, and that's what I was to say. The girls too, they will prop these girls up as well because they're doing that for their own self-interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just, they don't have anyone saying, you're kind of this is kind of a gross picture. Maybe you should take it down. Like nobody says that. And if anyone says that, then it's like, yeah, no kidding. But if anyone says that, you know what I mean? Then that person's the bad guy.
Yeah. Even
though everybody's thinking it, you see? And so this is why they don't take accountability. They don't fix anything. So they have to come to a point where they realize how miserable they actually are. Like they have some self-awareness of their own misery and they start looking for ways out of it. That's the girl who can start to be relationship capable. She realizes, okay, at some point she could realize that at 18 years old, or she could realize it at 50, right? But at some point she has to realize this social narrative is leading people to the slaughter. It's leading people to misery. And it's just a fucking nightmare. None of my friends are happy. They're all bitchy. They all complain about the guys they're with. Half of them fucking cheat. Like none of them. I mean, it's just a nightmare. If I don't do something different, figure out what to do, then I'm just going to be in this nightmare. I'm not going to be happy. That's a girl who might be relationship capable. And usually that can happen because she sees a guy who's higher value and has things going for him and would be somebody that she desires, and he rejects her, or you know what I mean? That could be the wake up call. Or she gets dumped by that guy because she's being an idiot. That can be the wake up call, or that's just the guy's just he's unattainable to her until she shapes some things up, and the simps no longer have value to her now. It's like, all these guys that simp for me, I know that they're full of shit. I want this guy who's got a really interesting life, and I want to be a part of that, but I have to now do things different with myself in order to get there. Yeah.
Question. It's a theory that I'm putting together here, but I want to get your perspective because, if I'm wrong, I want to know if I'm wrong. And I want you to think I'm wrong, okay? But really push back if you think so. But I have noticed, in my opinion, there are some women snapping out of shit. Now, do you think it is directly related to the male podcaster revolution, where we are just constantly calling out bad female behavior and getting millions upon millions upon, actually not even millions, it's billions of views, bro? Like the dunking on feminist, like fucking the dunking on crappy women genre, if you will, is getting like billions upon billions upon billions of clicks. And since that started first, led by us, Rule Zero, we led the charge, we did all that things, that was like the inception point of the beginning. And then after that, did you notice then the trad wife trend started becoming bigger?
It's the latest thing now. Yeah.
Do you think that's correlated? I
think so. I mean, I think that's a lot of factors probably, but I think that that's definitely part of it. I think that nowadays, like, even though we know that women have this feminist influence that they don't even realize. Like even Trump supporting conservative women have feminism ingrained in their, you know, behavior that and they don't even know it. They don't even see it, but we know that, but they don't know that, and they reject feminism. So if you look at polls, most women do not like to be identified as a feminist nowadays. So there's only a small percentage that actually identify as that. Most of those people are on the left or right coasts, like New York and LA, and they influence media, right? The Hollywood and stuff like that. But when you look at the majority of people in the United States, at least, they don't really want, a girl doesn't want to be known as a feminist anymore, where that was different 15 years ago. And I think that part of that is because they're seeing how fucking unhappy they are and all these women are. And then you have the podcasters talking about why they're, you know, unhappy and calling out the behavior. And then they don't want to be that girl. You know what I mean? So like they're looking at, maybe in order to be happy, I need to do something different. You know, they're starting to question things. I mean, I think with the last election, not that it's all politically motivated, but you know, we've and since the whole COVID fucking fiasco and all this stuff in the cancel culture, I think people are just so tired of all that shit, and they're starting to shift now into questioning things a little bit. And you're having more and more women questioning the narrative now and looking towards maybe, you know, doing things a little bit different, which is good. You know, that's a good thing. I think that shift is happening. It's just going to take some time, you know?
Well, I think life has gotten, like, we kind of reached critical mass, I'd say like 2018. Like, life was, remember, stupid people are like the backbone of the economy, because the economy is based upon stupid people blowing money, right?
Yeah, of course.
And it's majority women, right?
Yeah.
It's true. So
right.
That being said, right, I think it's getting harder for stupid people, from what I've been noticing. Like, before, you could be a mouth-breathing retard and still, like, get by. But I think AI is really, like, slowly but surely, incrementally cutting away at the resources that was available to stupid people. And there's almost like a culling happening right now. But again, guys, listen, bros, real quick. To bring it all together, we're going to jump right into what we're talking about next, okay? We're here for you, all right? And I want to make this very clear. We are not complaining. And you shouldn't be complaining either.
Right.
Right? Alex Hormozy told me something on Friday that's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. You know what he told me?
What's
he
that?
says, people love to tell themselves a narrative that excuses them from accountability.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%, dude. Absolutely.
Is that not, that kept me up at night. I was like laying in fucking Vegas, like awake, thinking like, oh man.
Yep.
That is like painfully true. So those who cling to a narrative, you know, another thing he said, which is really awesome. He was like, if you want to feel better, blame others. If you want to be better, blame yourself. You know? And that's what we're entering an age of like undeniable accountability. Like, social media now is like also a digital footprint. How many times, like, thank God for social media, how many times has social media caught women cheating, caught women doing fake pregnancy tests, doing all these things? Like, social media, the surveillance, and all that stuff that's happening to us is actually becoming like an accountability method. And despite all that, all the numbers, all the crying, and all this stuff, the quality of life still goes up every year. Like, if you are after the age of 35 in America and you're broke and you're unhappy and shit sucks, like, you played your cards wrong. You fucked up. Yep. You fucked up. You could sit there and cry about, oh, I'm black, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm short, oh, I'm Indian, oh, it's this race, it's the Jews, it's the gays, it's the gay Jews, it's the Muslims, it's whatever.
Lately, it's been the Jews. That's been all over Twitter. I don't know why we brought that back. We brought back anti-Semitism. Oh boy, that's the reason you're broke and can't get women and you suck. It's because of the Jews. Come on. Right? Like, come on, dude. It's because of the Palestinian and Israeli conflict. That's why your life sucks. Like, stop it. Just log off.
Really,
and go work on yourself.
You sound
You know,
you like sound like fuck retarded. But anyways, look, we wanted to give you guys a little opening conversation because, you know, remember, Paul and I are just guys like you. Like, we both didn't grow up in privilege. We both kind of grew up in rocky houses, and we both have turned out to be above average members of society. And we want to just tell you guys the unsexy part up front. It was not easy, but it was worth it. Like, I don't want to change anything about my life. Everything that has happened to me has made me an amazing person. Like, I'm at the point, and I kind of got here a couple years ago, but I remember I was just like very happy with the man I had become because I had kind of got lost in my excellence. Like, everywhere I go in Tokyo, I don't wait in lines for clubs. If I go to the steakhouses, everybody's shaking my hand. They're coming over. They say, you know, who's this new girl you're with? You know, people like me. People respect me. I meet strangers and I get respect. You know, and I worked so hard to be like this. And I came from literally, like, most people start at zero. You and I started at like -0 if you factor in the abuse and all the crazy shit you have to get out of, like the emotional turmoil, the psychological turmoil. And a hard life makes you a better person. Even the NVIDIA president or the CEO, he said, you know, character only comes through suffering. And so does transformation, you know? So you should embrace when bad things happen to you and know that, like the phoenix, you're being burned alive. You're going to die, but you will be reborn a new man. And you have to continuously and voluntarily walk into the fire your entire life. It never stops. It's two types of suffering. The suffering of burning, getting complacent and having to rebuild everything and destroy everything and rebuild everything, or you suffer silently and just living a life of mediocrity, knowing you want to take the shot, but you never do. Next thing you know, you're 40. Next thing you know, you're 45. Oh, I'm going to turn it around this time. I'm going to do this.
Take my money.
Yikes, bro. Just yikes. So we're going to jump right in. So let me read super chats real quick. Kyle, 2020, $5 super chat. If you wanted to whack the human race, you could not do better than social media. Remember Inception. Most infectious thing is idea. Yeah, but who cares? I mean, we got to focus on leveling up, boys. Dr. B says, I think we're just above 50% of single women. If you double check, I did double check, Dr. B, and thank you so much. An Aspen Economic Strategy Group analysis found that 51.4% of women ages 18 to 40 were single, i.e. not married nor cohabitating. Dr. B, phenomenal.
We've made it, guys.
All right. So the thing is, like, so when you, like, if you're afraid to cold approach a girl, there's literally a 50% chance she's single.
Yeah.
Kyle says, I effed up. I apologize. No excuses, pure weakness, lack of self-respect. I don't know what you're talking about, but chill. You're good, bro. Thanks for the $10. You're the man. No, like, we're cooked. No, Dr. B, I'm not cooked, bro. Dr. B, you I don't know if you're cooked.
A lot of people are, but that's what we're coming back to, is that we don't have to be. We're not. Yeah. We don't have to be cooked at all. And in fact, the best time, just like the best, you know more about investing than I do, John. The best time to invest is when the market's booming and at the top, or when it's in the shithole. Same with the dating market. The best time to get out there and date and have a great time is when people are suffering. Because now, and when guys are not good at this, and guys don't have their masculinity, and women are struggling to figure out how to behave and show up in the world, you show up a masculine, dominant version of yourself with things going for you. You clean fucking house. It is shooting fish in a barrel, dude. It really is. And it's super easy. It's easier than if women were better behaved and guys had their crap together. You would actually, most of you guys listening to this would have a harder time. You're not getting out there because you think it's bad out there, but you don't realize it's actually easier. And it's easier, even though there's a smaller percentage of not fat girls, they're easier to talk to and easier to get in your web of seduction. And I have guys in my community and in my mastermind group that have these mental barriers from talking to girls and sitting. As soon as they get over that shit, it's like they're cleaning house and getting laid and having good times instead of crappy bad times, and like all the good things are happening. And they're like, holy shit, why didn't I do this earlier? Yeah, you know.
And if you play your cards right, now I don't advise this. This is high level game, and I'm just going to throw it out there for the guys that are interested. But if you actually have your stuff together and you structure yourself in the right way financially, trust and everything, you could openly date multiple women.
Of course.
Being a quality guy is really that scarce, because everybody thinks like, oh, it's just looks, money, status, blah 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 blah. But everybody's dumb. You listen to the crowd, you're fucking moron. Okay. What women want above all is emotional security in a man. They want to feel safe. When you hear a woman says, I feel safe with you, it's like that Dave Chappelle, gotcha, bitch, you know? Gotcha, bitch, you know? So that being said, we're going to jump right into today's video because we got a good one. And it's the title is hilarious. It's TikTok wife just destroyed her husband's reputation by Matt Walsh. I know the guys at Daily Wire get a lot of slack, but honestly, they're doing a good work.
They are. I've been critical, so I want to say this on the stream. I've been critical because we don't always agree, but they're, you know what I mean? So where I disagree a lot of times with the Daily Wire guys is they don't treat dating and relationships as a skill. They treat it like as a morality. And the problem with that is you can't just moralize everything and then expect to have the communication skills, seduction skills, and the things that you need to convey the right message to the woman that you're with. You can't just moralizing it isn't going to get you those skills. Do you know what I mean? Like talking about how this is the best way to fight isn't the same as training how to fight. You know what I mean? And so that's where we have a disconnect, is that, okay, there's skill sets here. This isn't just a moral issue. But that being said, though, on the moral side of things and on some of their ideas of what it takes to develop good relationships, we're in complete agreement. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so there's a lot of more agreement with those guys and disagreement. So the times have been critical have been all in like good faith. I'm not just shitting on them, right? I'm just like, hey, this is an idea that needs to be fixed. But they also have great ideas too, and videos and great observations. This is one of them. That's why I brought it to your attention. Matt Walsh, in my opinion, is dead on here. You know, and he has good things to say. So anyway,
and, you know, and I say this with absolute humility, right? Nobody is right all the time, except for me and Paul. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And thank you, Glenn from Lawrence, for the $9.99 super chat. It's a salute to the greatest, greatest leaders of men out there coaching and leading men in the right direction. Glenn is so funny. He did he asked ChatGPT who is better at coaching men. He did a side-by-side comparison of me and Rolo. I don't know why. It was great for my ego. I won, obviously, but you're the man there, Glenn. So let's jump right into it and take a look at this and really kind of just break it down, because here's the thing too, guys. A lot of you guys just think getting sex is the end all be all, but it's not. It's two-part. First of all, when you learn to get a bunch of sex, it becomes boring because you're going to start desiring intimacy, right? You're going to start desiring an emotional connection with your woman, right? If you're not a sociopath. And it's a completely normal thing. And second of all is you have to understand your relationship is a sacred thing that must be protected from outside invaders. Nobody in your relationship has the best interest for you other than you and then your woman number two. And she really doesn't even like fully, you know, she really can't lead and guide you in the relationship. Like, it's up to you as a man. And I said this yesterday in my top 10 mistakes that men make in life is that you mandatorily must be a leader to have a successful relationship, period. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it, period. Okay. So keep an idea in your mind about that. And let's take a look here at our good friend, Mr. Matt Walsh.
Deliberately trying to make your husband feel disrespected and belittled. Today for our daily cancellation, we have another entry in the rapidly expanding genre of videos where wives complain about their husbands. And this genre is extremely popular. Of course, it's come up several times on this show. And yet the reverse genre, husbands complaining about their wives, basically does not exist. I mean, if a husband complains about his wife publicly, it will almost always be in a funny, lighthearted way where he makes himself the butt of the joke ultimately. But the all-female genre of spousal sessions is never meant to be funny, and the women certainly don't make themselves the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
These videos are, in almost every case, bitter, petty, patronizing, and deeply insulting to the husbands. And this latest entry is no different. So here's a woman.
He forgot to mention ugly. You never really see a smoke show doing this.
No,
I've
you
never
really
seen,
don't. Actually,
I've never seen like a mega babe doing this. It's always some pig.
It's either or extremely mid. Like a very an NPC, a non-player character. If you were out in the dating market, and she was among a sea of women, you wouldn't even notice her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to get a new sound bite. Remember, Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Jenny Maharaj is her name, who decided to tearfully scold her husband in front of the world. In front of what turned out to actually be an incredibly large audience. This video has been viewed 2 million times on TikTok and another 30 million times on X. And as always, the comments are mostly full of women cheering her on and dogpiling her husband. There's wide agreement in the feminist peanut gallery that Jenny's husband is a bad person, a bad husband, a bad man, and she has no recourse but to divorce him. And this is exactly the kind of feedback that Jenny was.
So stupid. Like, they're just so dumb. Did you, by the way, guys, again, more good news, okay?
Get money!
So, in China, okay, now, if a man in China divorces his wife, she has no more property rights. Do you actually know that men in China have the upper hand right now? If you want to go and get endless amounts of pussy, it's a little stale. It's 28 and older, but hey, just a little. You just get some dust off that pussy. You'll be all right.
Right.
You're in there. You are in there like swimwear, because they bought in the whole bullshit of like, you need to be an educated woman. Oh no, I'm 36 and now I can only have retarded kids. Like, it's like.
And they can only have one, or else they float them down the river.
If it doesn't kill her,
Yeah, right.
But if you go over there, you can clean up, man. You can bathe in pussy. And that's another option too, because like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the international marketplace is opened up. Like, okay, dude, stop being a fag and understand you can pack up and do it. I literally went and did it myself and became a multimillionaire in the fucking process. So you could go out there and land a 6 if I went out there and did all that shit, starting out with $2,500 in my fucking pocket and a whole lot of tenacity. But I digress. Let's go back to the American girls here.
Was looking for, obviously. There's no other reason to parade your spouse's shortcomings in front of the world. So here's Jenny's tragic tale of her husband being slightly dismissive once during dinner. Listen.
My husband decided to be spontaneous and take me to the movies last night. And when we went to dinner afterwards, I was talking about how much I really loved the movie. It was so good. I was so excited to talk about it. And he looks at me dead in my face and says, it was just a movie. And I immediately stopped talking. So the more I sat there and thought about it, I start crying. It gets really uncomfortable.
All right, like right off, I've never seen this, so I'm just like something happened. Something happened. Something happened to this kid when she was little. You shouldn't be just crying because.
Well, I'll tell you what this is. It's more sinister than that. And so, what Matt Walsh might not realize, he doesn't mention this, but her behavior is a good example of, or a good illustration, rather, of how the devaluing process works with cluster B personality disordered women. She's using her platform to demonstrate how cluster, which without knowing it, because she probably is borderline personality disorder, so she is not aware of this, but she is demonstrating exactly how someone like a BPD woman or a narcissistic woman would it devalues their relationship, their husband. And so that's exactly what she's doing. She's taking something small and making it this offense where she can be the victim and he's the bad guy. So that's actually that is a textbook BPD move. So what they'll do is they'll take something small and innocuous, and you become the bad guy. It's a way of criticizing and devaluing you because you did something so horrible to her. And then the crying and the tears and all that stuff is part of that. This is how BPD minds work. They're always the victim of some terrible guy, and they make you out to be the terrible guy. So she's using TikTok to illustrate to do this to her husband. It's more than just like trashy American women. This is definitely, I think, someone with a disorder, maybe. Now, that being said, though, millions of views and women piling on. Oh my gosh, he sounds like such a jerk and you should divorce him and you can do better. That's the real problem, is that, the narrative of women in the United States today and in the West is that of a borderline personality disordered woman. Like their narrative, their Batman origin stories is, I'm a victim of abuse and look at all the terrible things that happened to me. And that's why I do all these bad behaviors. It's actually my dad's fault, my mom's fault, my ex-boyfriend from high school's fault, my husband's fault. And that's the narrative. And so it's a borderline personality disorder narrative that is being put out to regular women across the world. Isn't that nice?
So it sounds like she's telling herself a narrative to excuse herself from accountability.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm having some deja vu right now.
Oh yeah.
I just think she's ugly, and I can just tell when a person is ugly on the outside, usually they're ugly on the inside too. Like they're like the inner world reflects on the outer world. There's no ands ifs about that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, when it comes to how she presents, I wouldn't say genetically, but and how she presents herself, sure. You know what I mean? Like a girl with good inner game and inner self-esteem is going to present herself in a way that's more beautiful. That's for sure. With whatever she has.
There's like a graceful, calming aura about them.
Yes. Right.
So, let's continue. What's up with those eyebrows too? Goodness, she's just she's a mess. I like how she changed the filtering to show her teeth not as yellow as they are. It's pretty bad.
And he tries to break the silence by continuing to talk. And I finally looked at him and I said, that really hurt my feelings. And he responded, it was just a movie. I said, I was really excited to talk about it. You took me to see this movie on a whim. I've never heard of it, didn't look it up beforehand, and I really loved it. You picked a great movie. And I was so excited.
What movie is this? Is this Sonic 3? Like
Minecraft movie?
And now I don't want to talk at all. Because why would I want to talk after that? And he immediately stops. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry. And then he grabs my hands. He's like, I'm not even being sarcastic. You're right, I'm sorry. I love when you get excited.
Big mistake.
Yep.
Big mistake. Didn't hold frame. Now the world is laughing at you. I think he deserves it, honestly.
Yeah, well, this is a common thing though, man. And guys, a lot of guys listening to this have fallen. I mean, I know I've fallen for it without until I got more educated on this stuff, but it's what they do. We have a natural tendency as guys, as long as we're not, psychopaths, right? We have a natural tendency to want to caretake for someone that we have an emotional attachment to and a sexual attachment. When a girl becomes our girl, our woman, there's a level of wanting to protect her and sort of take care of her in some way, not in a simping way, but in a way that a man takes care of a woman. A lot of women play off of that internal neurochemical reaction. That's vasopressin, by the way. That's the vasopressin that causes guys to attach to women, is that thing where they want to take care of them a bit, make sure that they're okay, make sure that they're protected, emotionally safe, all whatever, all that stuff. A lot of girls will play off that and say, you are a terrible person because you said this or did that. And they'll take something small, blow it up out of proportion, make the guy the bad guy. The basic message to the guy is, you're not being a man because you're not taking care of me the way I need to be taken care of. And the guy feels a sense of pain from that because it's violating that vasopressin attachment he has. And so he doesn't think that he's being set up for a fall by a manipulative woman. He instead goes, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to make you feel so terrible, and I'm sorry, and I'm a bad person. Like, that's what the tendency is. And that's how guys get devalued, because then the guy does the devaluing for the narcissist or BPD woman, because he'll just continue to apologize and admit to things that aren't wrong to try to make her feel better. Next thing you know, he's the one, I'm a terrible husband, I'm a terrible person, I don't ever treat you right, I don't know why I do that, let's go to counseling. It's like the ultimate gaslighting, you know, and it's pretty sinister, man. It really is
terrible. I think a lot of guys too are with girls that they don't realize are just pieces of shit that they need to dump.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know,
it's just annoying sometimes. I recognize that he is trying and he is learning how to communicate with me. It's not an overnight process, but it is very painful. He's still new to his healing journey, so I just have to keep remembering that.
Of all the red flags that have ever
He's new to his healing journey, so I'm going to publicly shame him in front of millions of people to accelerate his healing.
Yeah, exactly. His healing journey. Well, actually, I think Matt Walsh has something to say about that.
King Drayson House, he says, what did he actually say to her? She was getting really emotional about the movie, and he said, it's just a movie. And then she started crying because, I don't know, somebody slapped her in the face too many times when she was 9. I'm projecting, obviously.
No, well, she was making almost a ridiculous compliment, like, oh, this movie was, you picked the perfect movie, and she was basically loved by, and he just like, he was being humble, not insulting, but it sounded to me like he was being humble, just going, oh, you know, it's just a movie. Like, oh yeah, like it's not a big deal. Yeah, I know I picked the perfect movie, whatever. He's not sitting there going, oh, I'm great, no, I'm awesome, right? He just is like, oh, it's just a movie. And then she took that opportunity now to devalue him. And why would he, you know, be like, oh, it's just a movie? Probably because she's been devaluing him for a while. So if he were to sit there and go, yeah, babe, thanks, you know, I'm glad I put some research, put some heart and soul into picking it out for you, I'm glad you liked it, she would find a problem with that statement. You know what I mean? Oh, he's so fucking arrogant, I can't tell him anything. You know, it's like clearly anything this guy does, she's gonna find a way to be offended and victimized by it. I've seen this a million times. I know Dre has too. He's got game and sees what's out there. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, you got the fancy way of saying it. I just say it in pretty much 3 words. Streetwalker confirmed, guys. If you marry a streetwalker, if you marry a broken woman, you're gonna have a broken life. Don't do it.
Been flown, there is perhaps none more ominous or more glaring than a woman who uses the phrase healing journey. And this is exactly the kind of therapeutic jargon that you so often hear from the worst kinds of people. It's always the worst, most selfish, most oblivious, least self-aware people who speak in a way that make it obvious that they've spent many years in talk therapy, which should tell you all you need to know about talk therapy, but that's a topic for another time. For now, you should know that as this video went super viral and thousands upon thousands of women applauded her and offered absolutely vicious indictments of her husband, Jenny kept posting videos about it. Because once a woman like this realizes that she can get attention and validation on the internet by publicly spitting in her husband's face, she won't stop. It's a drug. And so in a follow-up video, Jenny informs us that her husband is self-loathing and not as emotionally mature as she is. And if she has to divorce him, she will, because she can make it without him.
You are correct. There is hatred here, but it's not for me. It's for himself. He hates my joy and excitement because he has nothing to feel joyful or excited about. And that's exactly what I said to him after he said it was sometimes annoying. The comments were not surprising. I actually almost didn't read them because I knew exactly how they were going to go. I started my healing journey in August of 2022. In the first year of my healing journey, I crashed out at least 2 to 3 times a month. And he was there to take the beating every single time. When you start healing.
And this is how you repay him.
Yeah,
Just,
right.
Got it.
And reconnecting with your higher self, your brain thinks it's in danger and it starts to project and deflect to whoever is closest to you. In my case, it was usually my husband. And now in his case, it is me. If I didn't feel like he was trying, I would not be here. I am secure in myself enough to know that I can make it on my own if I have to.
I know I said it's a topic for another time, but this, I cannot stress enough what a disaster therapy and the whole therapeutic industry. And I don't know if this woman has been to therapy. I assume she probably has. If she hasn't physically been, then I guarantee she's read all kinds of self-help books and watched videos and that sort of thing. It's all part of the same scam.
Yeah.
And it's just been a disaster. The therapeutic industry.
Yeah. Therapy for the most part is dog shit.
Sure. Yeah. You know, it's has its value in certain areas, but Matt Walsh is based here in this video. I mean, there's some people criticizing the Daily Wire, and that's okay. I have criticisms too of certain things, but sometimes, man, like Matt Walsh can be pretty based, dude. I think he's got it right on the money this time around. A lot of talk therapy is not the answer for somebody. That's the problem. It's another way for them to sort of paraphrase Hormozy and what he told you. It's another way for people to rationalize their own bullshit. For therapy is for a lot of people. Instead of fixing things and taking accountability, it's another way to rationalize not taking accountability. That's what a lot of therapy becomes for people. And unfortunately, the therapeutic professional, the psychologist or counselor or social worker, they're not trained to see that out and call people out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and just let them talk.
It's just financially incentivizing them to just take a morsel and come back, But they even they even interviewed a bunch of psychiatrists in the streets, and they're like, have you ever cured anybody? And they all just like started laughing. They're like, no, I don't fucking cure anybody. Like, and then it's just like, it's so wild, bro. You know, another thing is this. It's funny because you see her and she's already back on her TikTok.
Yeah.
And I think she's just mad because she's ugly. I mean, I personally think it's really that simple, right? Because if you're an ugly woman, what value do you really have? Like, you know, like your main goal in life is to be pretty so a guy can take care of you. If you're ugly, it's like,
well,
what do you do? Mow my lawn?
You got to look too. Just I want to point this out, just so guys can see it, because a lot of guys can't see it. But you got to look at the manipulation. Like, she's saying, I went on a healing journey several years ago and I gave him a hard time. So I understand, but now I'm more advanced. I'm better and smarter than my husband because of this healing journey that I gave him shit during. And so now I'm waiting for him to catch up. And, you know, if he doesn't catch up, I can just go be single. Like, she's talking about her husband as if she is better than he is. That's the underlying message that she's trying to get across without just coming on and saying that, which would be off-putting. So she says it in such a manipulative way that people accept it. But what she's trying to say is, I'm better than him, which is abysmal. That's a reason for divorce. In my opinion,
and bottom line is this: she's not healed. That's the funniest part. She's not healed. That healing journey was like, I don't know.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Yeah,
where did you go?
Like, yeah, what journey is this?
Where, like, you know, journeys at the mall? I don't know.
Yeah, a journey to the pharmacy to get your SSRIs. What, you know? Yeah. A journey to Xanax, like
King Jason now, he says something pretty wise. He says, stuff like this boils my blood. This single-handedly ruins families, ruining the countries more than fat women. Not fat women really are ruining everything. But yeah, a passive man cultivates a demon of woman. Yeah, well, again, you married a dirtbag, you know, because why did that guy marry a dirtbag? Scarcity mindset, because no game and no frame. Because if I were to meet, like, I didn't even see her open her mouth, like, oh, I could see she's traumatized. Like this is like, you know, that's like that, you know, in a perfect world, MLD land, like Old Yeller, gonna take her out back, like, listen, look, this is for the better of humanity. Okay, just look at the flowers. But like, this is what I'm talking about. I talked about it yesterday in my episode, top 10 things, dating mistakes guys are making. And this didn't start in the marriage. There were red flags in the relationship that this guy overlooked. You know, so for you drama queen men out there, like, you see, it's hopeless. We're all gonna die. All right, calm down. Get you know, take your Midol, settle down, okay? Go down to Home Depot, get a shovel, get all that sand out of your vagina. When you're done, sit down. Everything's gonna be okay. If you are aware, if you are looking for these things, and you actually have a skill set, and you've worked with a qualified male dating coach like myself, like Paul, this is not your problem. This is comedy to me. This is why I can make so little of it. Like, the guys in the chat are taking this so serious. Like, don't you understand the humanity? It's like, look at you, ugly. Like, who cares? Like, ugly girl. Like, I have to, like, if I'm only going to be really taking a woman's word at somewhat of a heavy value if she's pretty or competent. If she's neither of those things, I'm just like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You're not allowed to have access to this.
Yeah.
Denied.
Yeah, know? Right. Well, and these guys, I mean, they all go ahead. I don't know if you're gonna play.
We're gonna do it. Let's do it.
Go ahead, play it. I'll talk about it.
Disaster for the human race and for women in particular. Because let me tell you something. The appropriate response, if you know someone personally who has this complaint about, oh, I wanted to talk about a movie, he didn't want to talk about it. It's like, okay, get over it. Yeah, he was a little rude, a little dismissive. So tell him that and move on with your dinner. You should be over it by the time the appetizers get there. Okay, it's not a crisis. We don't have to sit around dissecting it. We really don't. It's not about, let's look at the deeper significance of this. No, it's just a moment. He's annoyed by something. Maybe he's annoyed because they didn't have the food he wanted on the entree. Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I could imagine how, like, Rolo or Rich would reply to this. Like, this is the gynocentric central order. Don't you understand? Spinning in his beanie, you know. Like, you guys, like, the thing is, I just want to stop because, you know, you guys know I take things pretty lightly for the most part when it comes to talking about this stuff, right? It's got to be water off the duck's back, because if you let this stuff, like, upset you, then they win. They win. Like, when I see some girl, like, miserable and, like, just having a bad time, I think it's hilarious. I'm just like, what bad decisions have you made to get here, right?
Sure.
You know, I want to let you guys, because I've seen some people in the chat, like, kind of like getting a little doomer. If you're watching on the replay too, like, guys, it's not you. Like, the rules do not pertain to you if you are a guy that has a good sense of game, a good sense of self-respect, which is game and frame. If you don't have those, you should be worried because you're up next. But other than that, you should be all right. Yeah. And for you guys that are out here, like, not talking to any women, like, this doesn't qualify you because you're not even in the game. You're on the fucking bleachers eating popcorn. So just eat some more popcorn. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Get over it is the answer, lady. Get over yourself and get over it and move on. Stop being a child. You're being a child is what you're being.
It's actually more than that.
Crying because you didn't want to talk about a movie. What the hell is wrong with you?
Wait, can you elaborate?
Yeah. It's actually more divisive than that. And we need to call it out for what it is. And this is not criticizing Matt Walsh here. I mean, it's just that, you know, just to expand on it, is that what she's doing is actually abusive.
Yes.
And so we kind of
Yes.
use the word. I don't like the word because it's overused, but since it's overused, let's use it in a context that's actually appropriate, which is right here. This is abusive behavior on her part. When you take something small and blow it way out of proportion to use as leverage to criticize and devalue the person that you're with, that's abusive behavior. You know what I mean? And so that's exactly what she's doing. She's looking for small things to blow up and make it some big offense that she gets to be victimized from, and then accuse him of being the bad person. It falls in line with narcissistic abuse. It's a form of gaslighting. There's an acronym called DARVO to kind of explain some of this behavior, but we don't need to get in the weeds. It's just it's a form of abuse because it's a way of criticizing someone in a very sinister way because it's very covert, you know? So this isn't just her being a child. This is her, in my opinion, because she's on TikTok presenting her case. This is a calculated move by her. She is calculating this. She is looking for ways to bring him down, make him the enemy, make herself the victim for attention, make herself the good person, the elevated person who already went on her healing journey, and then her husband, the bad guy. And that is really a sinister thing to do, you know? And so that's what it is. Yeah.
You know, my girl likes me so much, she made me this fan when I said I'm hot on the streams.
It's nice. She's in kindergarten. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's this or the TikTok gremlin. I'll take this.
I'll take the fan's nice. It's definitely nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, you know, she's a girl. Of course, she's a Japanese girl. She's gonna make these little fucking things. Isn't that fucking funny though?
That is funny. It's good.
Let's go back to Mr. Walsh. This is what he's got to say.
You child. So that is actually the appropriate response. It's the healthiest response. It's what people like this need to hear. They will never hear it from a therapist. They will never hear it from a therapist. Instead, they'll say, let's sit and talk. Let's do 10 sessions about this.
And like I've always been saying, and now Matt Walsh is catching up. We led the charge, okay? We led the charge. But I've been saying, feminism, all this shit is to extract the two things out of women. Money and votes. That's it. Everything, 100%. Every little idea, every NGO, all these things, everything goes back to.
You're 100% right.
Which shows you how dumb women are without a man in their life, because they get manipulated and tricked out of their own money because they spend the most, they're the most broke, they're the fattest, and they're single. Nobody wants to deal with them, and then they're like, okay, let's talk about all the Muslims like raping women in the Middle East or in Europe and shit. And then
whatever town they're in,
we need more Muslims to rape us. Like, and they're like, they vote them all in. They're like, why are the Muslims raping us? Like, you literally voted for this, you fucking moron.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's just ridiculous. Well, that's what it is, though. It's control, man. Yeah, it's control.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. It's funny though, right? It's truly hilarious.
Anyway, another detail that you should know about this truly awful woman is that she has apparently 4 children. And 2 of them are teenagers or young adults, which means that her children are fully aware that her mother is disparaging their father on the internet.
Oh my God.
They can read, and certainly have read, all of the comments describing in detail why their father is an egotistical monster unworthy of love. And all of these comments are foreseeable. Indeed, Jenny says that she knew it would go that way. And yet she posted the video anyway. And this is why I must desperately urge the women of America. And I know you don't, I know not all women do this, but if you're one of these women, I am urging you to stop complaining about your husbands on social media or in any other public forum.
Well, listen, that is falling on fat and deaf ears. Okay.
Right. It is. And I would say, like I said, this woman on TikTok is showing all of the signs of somebody with a disorder. Not that I can diagnose from TikTok, but that's what it looks like. That said, though, That's the narrative. There's more and more women that think this is acceptable who don't have disorders. They're just being socially conditioned to think that it's okay to be disrespectful to men on the internet and to the guy that you're with. They think that that's fine. And it's sad. And they don't realize how shitty they look. Like this girl looks like trash, dude.
Yes.
You know, like, and she has no idea. She thinks that she looks good because she has her own narcissistic delusions. She thinks she's looking good and looking like the righteous person here, and that the husband's the bad guy. No, you look like a piece of shit when you're doing this.
I was gonna say, I thought you were saying she looks like, think she looks good physically. I'm like, no, she's really
no.
Yeah. No, but like, man, it's like it's phenomenal to watch, right? Because here's the cardinal rule she's breaking, and you men also should not do this, because your relationship, you don't talk to anybody about your relationship. If you're going to talk to somebody about your relationship, it should be like a wise older man who is also in a happy, healthy relationship where he wears the pants, he is the head of the household, and he can
join my community at school.
Hey, join my community at school.com. I got you, boys. I'll get your girl making you nice little gay fucking things like this. You know, they'll be singing your praises, boys.
Yeah.
No, man, it's fucking, dude. Yeah. Like,
it's true though. It's true. Yeah. You need to keep, there's something, you know, it's interesting because, and the Daily Wire people would like this if they heard it, but they don't care. So they're not, but this idea came from church, believe it or not, but it's a good one. It really is a good idea of how to run your relationship. And it's the idea of the appearance of impropriety. So you don't want to give the appearance to others that you're doing things that are wrong in your relationship, or that your girl or wife is doing shitty wrong things. Because for example, let's take women, for example. If some girl is married and she's going out and flirting and acting like a single person and acting like she would entertain other men or whatever, even if she says to herself, well, I would never actually do it, I'm just playing around, and I'm not trying to disrespect my husband, we joke around, like whatever excuse she makes, when she has that appearance of impropriety, she's sending a message to the world that she would cheat on her husband, that she doesn't respect her husband. And so now what happens is the world treats her like somebody who would cheat. Guys treat her like somebody who would fuck around. And here's what we know from the Stanford prison experiment. We are heavily influenced by how other people treat us. That starts with us, though. For example, if I walk around and act and talk about myself like I'm a failure, people are going to start treating me like I'm a failure. And then what am I going to believe in my own head? That I'm a failure. If women go out and do single woman, empowered women, slutty, dumb behavior and disrespectful behavior to their relationship partners at home, they go out in the world and do that, people will treat them like they should cheat and like they should dump them, like this, that, and the other. What is that going to do to her brain? It's going to make her think that. And so a lot of people have full-blown fallen into, like women have fallen into cheating behaviors because of this exact influence. They go out and act a certain way because they think it's cool and that's what they should do. But then people treat them like they're cheaters. Next thing they know, they're processing that they're somebody who would cheat, and they start entertaining those ideas more heavily. And next thing you know, that's where it ends up. And so there's a lot of cases. You got your serial cheaters who've been cheating since birth, right? But you have most women are not that. Most women are just like, they get into these relationships and they go down this pathway, and next thing you know, they find themselves there, right? And so, yeah, that's an interesting thing. And when this girl is acting disrespectful, as a lot of American women seem to think it's okay to do publicly, she's sending a message out there that she's open for business. The right guy comes along, she can cheat or divorce or leave him or whatever. Like, she's sending all these messages. People are going to treat her that way, and then it's going to affect how she acts in the relationship. So there's big consequences here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to this freak show.
Oh, yeah.
Oops, where are we at? There we go.
It is not just inappropriate. It is not just a case of oversharing, though it is both of those things. More than that, it is actually despicable. You are a despicable person if you take the flaws and faults of some.
Hey, listen, respect that he's actually.
Yeah.
Listen, the only way that these bitches are going to get in line, because good women, I'm not calling good women.
Yeah, of course.
Bitches.
Of course.
But
right.
the only way
The
these
ones that
bitches
deserve it, right?
are going to get into line is when men start standing up and be like, hey, bitch, what in the actual fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because women only respond to shame. Period.
Sure.
Period.
That's right.
You
Well,
know?
they are very affected by whether or not they're a good chimpanzee, as I call it.
Yes.
Whereas we have to be useful chimps. Us men, we're affected by, are we useful? Can I change a tire and kick some ass and make some money, right? That's what we're going to be affected by. Women want to be good chimps. Are they acting like a good woman that is desirable, or are they acting like a piece of shit? And if more guys would just be like, hey, lady, or hey, girlfriend, wife, that you're kind of acting like a piece of shit right now. And you need to fucking stop, because everybody's looking at you sideways. If they fucking hear that more often, yeah, they might start to think twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because they're cowards. They don't stand up for themselves.
Right.
they don't hold their ground even if when they're insufferable, you know?
Yeah.
Like they fold so quickly. Like when I was doing sales, like anytime I saw one, I was like, oh, look at this dumb. I'm about to get that money, bro. Because they're like they really, like, anytime, and I'll say this to you, like, for you guys out there who are always so worried about, like, you know, oh, if I stand up to this girl, she's gonna do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no. This is what's gonna happen. If a girl's acting insufferable, she's going to attempt to verbally shame you, and then when you stand your ground, she's going to retreat and find a man or a group of people to come defend her.
Yep.
And that's it. That's it. You know, but if you could hold your ground, you're good to go.
Someone close to you and parade them around in public. You are a disgusting, narcissistic bully if you would offer up someone you love to the pitchfork mob as a way to win an argument. It is evil. It is vile. There are not words strong enough to convey how much I loathe this kind of thing. I mean, think about it this way. It would be, and we would all agree with this actually, it would be utterly contemptible to treat a friend or acquaintance this way. You would be a heinous jerk if you publicly castigated a friend who you only text twice a year. I would think, and everyone would think, that you were an abhorrent, despicable, disloyal snake if you aired your dirty laundry about a friendly acquaintance or a distant cousin.
I think he's just going to go in on her for the next 10 minutes. I want to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how it ends. To be honest,
I'm scanning through here, and it looks like he's just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the important part, which was her being.
Well, I want to see the comments, because, you know, the truth. Anytime you see the comment section censored, you know, like there's some truth in that video, because the comment section always has the truth. I want to see what here, and you know, I think this is what's happening. Like, there is a change happening here. Like, a wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. I forgot about that. Proverbs 14:1. Wow, that's great. That is great. She's on a journey to be single. I recognize that he's trying, but I'm posting this anyways. She's fat. I don't know if I care what she thinks, but let's see. If horrible, I don't post mine, and my husband's, I don't call people and yap about my husband. Yeah, I mean, it's really, and this is right. Like, step 1 of your healing journey: delete your social media accounts. That's facts right there.
Yep,
that's mega facts. I'm happy to see that her clout is already gone, though. I don't know if you've taken a look here, but she's already back to her pathetic views as before, like 100 views. You know, here, look at this. My advice after 1 year being content creator averages 1,200 a month. All right. I don't care about your peasant fucking earnings. Oh, man. Astrology, red flag. And then 1 million plus. My focus, I'll give herbs, medicine, insurance is scam. Oh. Wow.
What you got?
Hold on. Dude, she saw the Thunderbolts. That movie fucking sucked. Have you seen Thunderbolts?
No.
Dude, I fell asleep. That movie was so bad. That movie was like about an emo little kid who how they beat him was being nice to him. That movie was so bad. I can't believe this is what she was talking about.
Sounds terrible. I'm very critical of movies.
It makes sense to me that movie was a fucking terrible movie. I remember me and my brother we went and see it, and I passed out. I was just like, that movie was so fucking awful. My brother was like, he was kind of like annoyed that we went too. He was like, that movie sucked, you know? But yeah, man, you know, wow, just what a there's nothing emotional about. Maybe it's because like the main villain was a traumatized person. She saw that herself.
All right. Yeah, seriously. Like, who knows?
But
dude?
guys, the point we're trying to make is very, very, very clear. Your relationship, okay, because if it was a man doing this, okay, that man also would be at the criticism of Paul and I, who are never wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys, you have to understand, when you talk to anybody about your relationship, or you go and complain to your friends, whatever, oh, I hate my girlfriend, she's this and that and that, and then you go back to her, you just look like
you look like a fucking douchebag, dude.
You look like a dumbass.
Like a douchebag, right?
You look stupid, you know, because you keep going back to her, and then now you're just known as the fighting couple. And
we're not talking about jumping on our platforms to solve problems and stuff. We're talking about complaining and just, you know, just being an asshole. I would call it an asshole, right? And a complainer. Yeah. People who ask, "What should I do? My girlfriend's acting like a bitch." You know, it's just like, and then proceeds to disrespect the girl. Well, you're not asking what to do because you're not going to fix anything. You're just really wanting to disparage the girl you're with because it makes you feel better because you're frustrated or whatever. But at the end of the day, you look like the weakling that you are because you're not doing anything about it. You're not trying to actually fix it. And so it's one thing to say, hey, you know, my girl is doing this thing and it's really fucked up. It's bothering me and I need to fix it somehow. And then you do things to fix it. That's not complaining. We're talking about just complaining, like what this chick's doing. And, yeah, man, it's another thing I want to just sort of pivot. I think there's a lesson here, which is that never accept this. If a girl is willing to make you look stupid in front of other people, dump her. Yeah. It's over with.
It is.
Because that's just a demonstration of disrespect. And that's a reflection of how she feels about you. And if she doesn't respect you, and is willing to use you to try to make herself look better, then she can't really desire you. It's not that you're not desirable. It's just that her mental health is so broken that she gets in the way of her own natural submitted desire to you in the relationship. So she can't have a good relationship with you. She's not capable of it. So you're just going to waste not only your time and your energy, but you're going to harm yourself in the process because you're going to waste emotional and mental space on this person. You just have to get rid of her. Disrespect is something you should not ever tolerate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it, man. That's my message. Then the whole thing, you know, is that not so many guys put up with this shit, man. And I'm like, whoa.
Listen.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm a big fan of cutting people off.
Yeah.
And listen, people have a place in your life for a time, but once they don't serve their purpose, it's harsh to say this, but the truth is then they're just holding you back and holding you down. And you've dated some troglodyte, disrespectful, low-class peasant woman like this. She's holding you back from your money. She's holding back you from a better body. She's holding you back from better peace. Everything is just weighed down by her filth. And that's the thing. We guys at home, you want to heal this culture. You want to heal America. You want to truly make America great again. You got to understand every drop of disrespect that you tolerate and or rationalize, because I have a lot of smart guys that I talk to and they rationalize Their woman's bad. Oh, you know, my girl's like, I talked about this yesterday on the show. My girl's like this because she's Latina. My girl's like this because she's black. Oh, you know, these kind of girls are just like this, you know. Oh, you know, women. Shut up, you weak ass little bitch. Okay, because that's what you are, and you're a part of the problem.
Yeah.
And the problem doesn't get solved unless men get their shit together. It's not the women. It's on you. You there, the common man watching me. If you've not gone through my training and you're not part of my inner community, I'm not talking about you because I know that my guys don't do that. But if you're on the outside and you know who you are, just know you're part of the problem. When she is a streetwalker, send her where she belongs, boys.
She belongs to the streets.
Send her out. Okay. Until then, we'll catch you guys next week. We'll be back live. Check me out. School.com/MLD. Get on the waiting list for the new Masculine Empowerment Network going live on July 21st. Other than that, go ahead, check out Paul, Apex Mindset on YouTube. Apex Mindset.
And school. Hit the link. Get on school. Get on both our communities.
Yes.
No. Yep.
Until then, we'll catch you later. Peace out.